In 1973, two men claimed to have been abducted by robotic aliens with carrot-shaped features and lobster claw hands. This is the story of the Pascagoula encounter. https://u2.b/l2mehy2a8wm https://u2.be/l2mehy2a8wm. Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker stuck to their stories until they passed away. They were interviewed multiple times and both passed lie detector tests. Their case is one of the most compelling, with witnesses coming forward to say they too saw the craft. The encounter is thought to have lasted around 45 minutes, but the impact from it lasted a lifetime for both men. This video features interviews with both Charles and Calvin, as well as the rare audio of the secretive recording from the night of the incident. The audio from the secret recording is hard to make out sometimes, but it's from 1973 and hasn't been fully remastered. So was this a giant long-lasting hoax, or was this a legitimate abduction? Inhumanly fast man I saw on an abandoned property back when I was a kid. I used to go for walks with my dad in a rural and very old street. Looking down a railing at one point, you can see a piece of land from an old abandoned house, likely from the 1800s. This one time we were taking a walk as usual, but looking in this property we noticed there was a man. He was dressed definitely too well to be in hobo, so we got both a little suspicious. Being the social kid I was, I tried to greet him, raising a hand and saying hello. He looked straight at me and started immediately running away at an inhuman speed, acting almost like a mouse running away from a cat, and entering the woods. It was not just about how fast he ran, but how fast he moved. He almost looked like a sped-up video of someone running. Needless to say, me and my father both got the creeps and still remember this to this day. July 25th, tall gray humanoid in light in woods, Martha's Vineyard. After looking out a window that allowed full observation of back the porch, I witnessed what is classified as a gray staring right back at me. It ran. About 7 feet 5 inches, I'm a very good guess of height due to being 6 feet 5 inches. I heard it slip naked feet on a wooden deck and disappear into the brush. I essentially had a stroke and calmly walked back downstairs. Within a short time, out back on the deck, dead of night, pitch black, through the trees about 55 feet from me, I saw what looked like a long, skinny, tall light that had pulsating movements resembling that of a burning cigarette ember. It had almost all the same colors as a cigarette ember: reds, amber, orange, even a slight blue hue. I tilted my head and moved my body back and forth, but the light stayed perfectly still. It was completely silent. cc/u/xlr AITA 365 from ufostalker.com/event/102372 http://ufostalker.com/event/102372. Mannequin people. This one time me and my friend were walking home from a mutual friend's house after a long night of video games, like around 2 or 3 in the morning. We both lived close by, so we walked the same way. The way we're walking was kinda dark and secluded, and in the distance, we see this dark Jeep driving our direction. And in this Jeep we see 2 people in the front, one in the driver's seat and the other in passenger seat, with no facial features, just a blank face. I am literally shaking as I write this, kinda like a mannequin. And there was 2 more in the back seats. They stared at us like they were interested in us. I asked my friend if he had seen what I had witnessed, and he said yes. We were both scared to it, and we both walked home. I am wondering if any has ever experienced anything like I have? Messaging my ex, Anne. You there? Did you get my message? Anne. Yes. How are you? Do you miss me? Just a little bit? Go K*LL yourself. Whoa, Anne. Not cool. I guess it's a no. Well, I miss you. I wish we could get back together. I hate you. I made a mistake, I admit it. But why are you so rude? It's been 2 years. Maybe we could at least be friends? Shut up, I hate you. Oh, come on. Give me a second chance. Shut up, I'd rather burn in hell than talk to you for another minute. Ugh, fine. Goodbye. Goodbye. I often try to apologize, but she doesn't care. I'm starting to think she'll never forgive me. Well, sometimes life is unfair, I think to myself as I put the Ouija board back on the shelf. I shouldn't have M***ed her in the first place. My cat is in your pool. When I was a freshman in high school, circa 1997, my sister and I both had bedrooms in the basement. Our parents got us our own phone line because they were sick of our friends calling and us always keeping their line busy. I was a night owl. I always stayed up really late. One night, around 2 a.m., I had finally hopped into bed and drifted off when our phone rang. I knew that my sister was asleep, so I jumped out of bed and answered it. The person on the other end of the line was horribly panicked. Please help me. My cat fell in your pool. My cat fell in your pool. Please. The voice sounded female to me in my sleepy haze. I don't have a pool, I replied, feeling extremely confused. The voice turned deep, sinister, raspy, almost inhuman and said, well, I don't have a cat. The line went dead. I was shaking and terrified. So, thing without a cat, let's not meet. My son's imaginary friend. We bought a house from a widow, and shortly after we moved in my son started making a doll out his clothes and calling it Lil Jimmy. He takes him outside and they play board games and my son will talk to him. One day my son said Lil Jimmy looks my age, 10, but he says he's 72, so I did some googling and found out the widow's husband was named James Jr., Lil Jimmy, and was 72 when he died while on hospice care, so probably in our house. I've taken Lil Jimmy apart to wash him since he gets kind of crusty playing outside and the lights would flicker, so I stopped doing that. Other than being weird, I don't get any bad vibes from Lil Jimmy, and our pets will cuddle with the thing my kid made, so he's probably a nice spirit. But that's my paranormal story. Edited to I blocked out any personal information from the obituary and group text. What do I do, or how do I get rid of it? Please freaking help. OMG. OMG. I don't know what the hell I just saw. So, I was driving around trying to pass the time because I couldn't sleep, and this demon deer ran across the road. On 2 legs. Like a freaking human. I almost hit the damn thing and did a U-turn after freaking out and saw a deer. I looked wrong though, like its neck was really long and its fur was, I don't know how to explain it, like, almost missing in places. It didn't blink when I shined my brights on it, and then its head made a quick, jerky movement towards me and I booked it. LOL, I did wait for that mofo to come at me. The worst part was that its eyes when reflected in the light were green and yellow. Now I'm at home avoiding my BF and P asterisk sing myself. The hell did I see, and how the hell can I get rid of it? Shapeshifting person. Okay, so this happened earlier this year. Me and more partner were coming back fro delivering papers. We always do it late at night as we both work during the day. Anyway, it was about 10 p.m. when we were walking back when we see a little girl who looked about 9 walking down the street. I thought this was weird. Why would someone let their young kid walk around so late? I said to my partner we should go see if she needed help, but then suddenly it was no longer a little girl but a grown man. The little girl turned into a man right in front of us. We decided to stay back behind him a bit until he was out of sight. That was one of the most scariest things I've ever experienced in my life. Share your stories with me. Writing a book. I am creating a book and online presence compiling stories of strange and unusual events that have potentially never been told before. I would prefer to do this in an interview format and would love to hear from you if you have an interesting story that you would like to be told. I don't want to merely compose fiction. I want to shed light on the reality that the world is truly more interesting than it seems. It can be anything, including creatures, ghost hauntings, aliens, conspiracies, ESP events, strange occurrences, crazy/psychotic people you've had experiences with, twists of fate, and miracles. It doesn't necessarily have to be dark and negative. I'm interested in hearing all kinds of stories, and of course you can remain anonymous to the world if you prefer. Please don't hesitate to send me a private message here, or email me at strangerthanfiction3@outlook.com, mail to strangerthanfiction3@outlook.com, which is preferable. So these actually happened to us. For context, we live in the southeast on Civil War battleground. It's well known that the houses in this area are a little haunted. We've noticed nothing too crazy, just your typical orbs, dogs barking at nothing, weird noises. But one morning while we were laying in bed, we both heard this voice on the side of the bed. It sounded like a man and we couldn't decipher what it said. It gave us the chills and we kind of laughed it off until that night. Well, without getting too graphic, we were doing the dirty and we were both kind of out of it, and I didn't know why until I heard something thump on my side of the bed. We stop, look at one another and question what the hell that was. So I get up and search all around the bed. Absolutely nothing. It was then that I realized we were totally getting creeped on by a ghost. I guess dead guys like lesbians too. Strange white blur in the woods. I was young at the time, but this experience was so strange it can still remember it vividly. My family was looking at houses to move into, and we were looking at a house with a large backyard with woods behind it. My older sister and I had went off on our own and went to the back near the woods. I was looking in the woods when I saw a tall, white, slow-moving blur. I was looking directly at it, yet it was so blurry and unfocused that it looked like a formless blob. I looked at my sister and she told me to run, so we ran all the way back inside the house to our parents. I've never been able to find anything online that it's similar to what I saw. The sound of children screaming at 2 a.m. I was camping with my kids when I woke up to the sound of blood-curdling screaming. It was my own kids screaming. They were pointing at the tent door. The zipper was unzipping and a tiny hand came in and was trying to pull my backpack out. I forgot there were raisins in it. Raccoons. My kids were terrified of raccoons before this happened, so their screaming was intense. They calmed down after a couple minutes, and I expected to hear someone shout, "Everything okay over there?" Or for a park ranger to walk up, because there were lots of campers and sites nearby, and my kids were screaming bloody M*Rider, like straight from a horror movie. But no one checked on us. I imagined maybe they were all laying there too scared to move in case they were the next ones to be M*Ridered. And that maybe they are still wondering about the screaming ghosts or unreported M*Rider to this day. There is no mirror in the barbershop. I went into a barbershop with no mirrors. This confused me, as mirrors are important in barbershops so we can check out the end product of our haircut. When the barber finished cutting my hair, he asked me, "Would you like to check your haircut?" To which I replied, "Yes, please." He then started to strangle me by using a chokehold called the guillotine choke. I then started to feel unconscious and felt like I was floating in the air. I then witnesses seeing myself sitting on the barber chair with me being choked out. I was able to check out my haircut, which was fine. I must have been close to death because my spirit was coming out of the body and I could see everything. Then the barber let go of the chokehold and my spirit or soul went back into my body, and I turned round to the barber and said, "The haircut looks fine." Very, very bizarre alien entity. Anyone know of other encounters like this? I'm a big fan of Albert Rosellas's Humanoid Encounters books, a must-have for anyone here. In the 2000 to 2009 volume, there's this encounter with this alien being unlike any other I've heard of. You can read the full encounter here, http://www.mysterious people.com/mysterious_grease.htm, http://www.mysterious people.com/mysterious_grease.htm. But to sum it up, this Greek man in his house at night saw this person wearing blue overalls that had bumps where the facial features should have been and looked holographic. It moved by taking big leaps like a dancer and could teleport. He followed it as it teleported between different rooms before it disappeared. Anyone know of any other such entities this strange? Cause I really find them fascinating. I also wonder what makes beings like this one act in such a way, or why it was there.